Hello, everybody. Some would say I'm the Reverse, and welcome to my review for The Flash Season 6, Episode 14, titled Death of the Speed Force. Let's get into this review. I'm just going to start with my general thoughts. I thought this episode was an awesome episode. Um, I thought it was really good. One of the best episodes of the season so far. It was definitely a crazy ride from start to finish. There was a lot of stuff happening. I feel like the storylines are definitely being pushed forward, along with just having weekly stuff like Wally coming back for this episode. We had a villain of the week storyline, and yeah, I am I am really happy with how good this episode turned out to be. It's not as good as I was thinking it was going to be. I was expecting it to be really, really like amazing. One of the top like 15 episodes of the entire series. It's not that good, um, but I am impressed with it. I am glad I'm not super disappointed with it. I thought it was really good. It did some crazy things with the storylines. But yeah, let's just get right into it. Um, let's start with the very beginning of the episode. It starts with these Russian people. They're in a helicopter, and the helicopter, it looks like it starts to rust, and I'll get into like obviously it looks like rust, but I'll get into why I think that um, in a little bit. But Wally, he saves this helicopter. He shows up on the monitor on Team Flash's like on the monitor, and they assume it's Barry, but then Barry walks up behind them, and it turns out it's Wally. He jumps on the helicopter, and we get to see his first new ability. It is an awesome ability. It hyped me up a lot, uh, mainly because I recognize this ability from the comics. Basically, he split into multiple people. Basically, he didn't really create speed mirages. He literally like copied himself. He multiplied himself, and all of these copies of him, they were all spinning around the helicopter, taking parts off of it. They were taking it apart. They saved the people, and then Wally he came back on the ground, and they all combined again. And yeah, this reminded me of Godspeed. Um, Obviously, in the comic books, this was a big ability that Godspeed could do, and it was really awesome to see it used on the show. Um, Obviously, we had a similar ability used by the Reverse Flash in last season's finale when he split into two and fought Nora and Barry. I don't know if this was the same ability. They used a different effect. Maybe it's just because Wally has more of a spiritual connection with the Speed Force. We get to see this, and he's just surrounded by lightning. Reverse Flash, he just vibrated into two. But Wally, like the effect they use, he it looks like he literally used this his energy to like come to split himself into multiple. Um, it seems that he has a really cool connection the uh, with the Speed Force energy, and we also get to see this with him. He's creating like this lotus flower out of lightning. This was theorized by me and quite a few other people that one of his new abilities would be for him to um, like use the Speed Force energy to build things. This isn't exactly what I thought it would be. In the comics, he has this ability where he can literally create things out of Speed Force energy. I was thinking that maybe he could build a new suit out of Speed Force energy, but I was definitely thinking he could make objects out of it. This right here, it's along the lines of that, but he's not creating objects. He's just using this energy and morphing it into like shapes, basically. It's one step further towards that process. Maybe if he comes back for multiple episodes, like next season, I don't think he'll be coming back anytime soon in this season, since they're already almost done filming it, and they're obviously done writing it. So maybe if he comes back for like a 3 episode, 4 episode arc next season, or if he comes back like beginning of the season, then middle of the season, then the end of the season, like Captain Cold did in season one of The Flash, he just comes back in like he's a recurring character basically, comes back every 6 episodes or so, shows up like 4 times. Then he can build a new suit for him or something. But yeah, it was really cool to see him use new abilities. But we saw him build this at his welcome home party, and then Cisco came in, and he was thinking that this party is for him, but then obviously it's for Wally. But another thing that we saw during this was a glimpse into the mirror world with Iris and Eva, and they were talking. And obviously, Iris doesn't suspect anything of Eva. She's talking about how she wants to see her family again, and she's just having a casual conversation with Eva. She's not suspecting anything. But yeah, she doesn't suspect anything from Eva. Um, and obviously, we know that Eva is not necessarily evil. Well, uh, she is evil, I guess. But she has an ulterior motive. But Iris doesn't suspect a thing, and then Eva starts like glitching, kind of, is is how I would put it. She was trembling, shaking. Her hand was shaking and stuff when she tried to pick up this glass of water. I'm pretty sure this is because she was like I don't know, tiring herself out from creating this mirror Iris in the real world. And then the real Iris's hand started shaking as well. And then Eva was talking about how long it's been since she's seen her husband. She started talking about how many months, how many weeks, and then how many days. And her brain just started glitching out. She kept repeating the same number of days over and over and over again. And real Iris was doing the same thing. She was just staring. She just had this dead stare, and she was pouring. She poured too much wine in the glass, and it was spilling everywhere. And Camilla noticed this, and this is the first sign of Camilla noticing that Iris is off. There's something off about Iris, so this is that first sign. But then Cisco comes back, like I said. He mentions that he went to Atlantis, so Atlantis is above water on Earth Prime, just like it was on old Earth 2, as Jay Garrick mentioned that one time. And he mentioned, Cisco mentioned reeking of Atlantean fish and stuff like that. And then after the party ended, Barry and Wally they cleaned up the party, and Barry's powers are on the fritz again, and he's flying. He flew into a table, and this is when Wally starts to he starts telling Barry that there's something wrong with the Speed Force. That's why he came here, along with visiting family. He came here to talk to Barry because there's something wrong with the Speed Force, and Barry just blows it off. He says Wally's probably wrong and stuff. But then Wally goes to talk to Iris, fake Iris, obviously, who tells him about this little who tells him about the thing that happened with Barry and Bloodwork and the Speed Force and stuff like that. And then Barry goes to confront Barry about it, or Wally goes to confront Barry about it. I don't know. I said that, but but he turns out he tells Barry that the Speed Force is actually dying, and it's all Barry's fault. And cool argument. They argue a little bit, and but then they go into the Speed Force. Another ability we get to see Wally use. A lot of new abilities. We knew he was going to get new abilities, but he's getting a lot of new abilities. He brings Barry's like consciousness in there. They don't actually have to enter physically into the Speed Force. He literally can bring Barry's consciousness into the Speed Force, which is a cool ability, I guess. It doesn't really change much, but it's cool to know. It's cool to see that Wally has these abilities since in certain ways, obviously, he is more powerful than Barry. Um, but yeah, they see Nora Allen. She is dying in Barry's old childhood bed, and and she says that there's no way to save the Speed Force and stuff. And then Barry and Wally come out. They argue a little bit. Wally blames it all on Barry because he thinks it is Barry's fault. He thinks it's because of the bloodwork stuff. It was also cool when they were like talking about this bloodwork stuff that happened in episode 7. We got a little hint of bloodwork's theme and stuff. I thought that was cool. But then afterwards, after Wally and Barry, go their separate ways for a little bit, Barry he wants to go talk to Nora again, the Speed Force, So goes into the time vault. He gets Gideon. He uses the little tachyon enhancer thing, basically just to monitor him because he's physically going into the Speed Force. And he talks to her, and it turns out it's not actually from Bloodworks stuff. It's from the Spectres, from the Crisis. Now, I was kind of disappointed by this aspect. I get why they did this. They didn't want it to actually be Barry's fault, but I don't like the fact that they didn't use Bloodworks incident and they used Spectre's energy instead. Um, Number one reason I don't like that. I kind of wish that they kept with the Bloodwork thing. It adds more consequences to the Bloodwork taking over Barry's body, since that was a really good episode, really awesome moment of the season. And it'd just be cool if this was, it had more significance. This was what caused the Speed Force to inevitably die. But the second reason I'm kind of disappointed that they used the Spectre's energy was because I really liked the idea that him unlocking Barry's full potential in Crisis was just a placebo effect to give Barry more confidence, basically by touching his forehead, making him think that he has full potential. Um, it actually gives him full potential, basically, because it like tricks his mind. You know how placebos work. But I just would have preferred if they used the Bloodwork stuff, not only adding more significance and consequence to that episode and just to the Bloodwork arc in general, but also I just I love the idea of, well, I don't love it. I prefer the idea that the unlocking the full potential was a placebo effect and not actually a real thing. But it's not a huge deal, I guess, but I just would have preferred if they went with the other way. But I understand what they were trying to do. They didn't want to make it Barry's fault. It's technically the Spectre's fault. But I don't know. I just kind of wish they went the other way. Um, but what else we got? Um, but yeah, Barry and Wally, now that the Speed Force is dead, they only have a residual amount of Speed Force left, so the more they use the Speed Force, the more it runs out until they're not speedsters anymore. And let's talk about the main villain of the or yeah, the villain of the week for a little bit. Turtle 2.0. Now, she's not a bad villain at all. She's not very interesting by any means, but she's not like cringy. She's not like somebody get my money from the Iris episode in season 4. She's not super cringy or anything, but she is not interesting. I like how they used her powers. Funny enough, I'm actually rewatching The Flash right now. Um, like the early seasons. I'm on season 2. I just watched the Potential Energy episode, the season 2 episode 10, which had the turtle in it. That's the last episode I watched like yesterday, and now they're bringing back the turtle for this episode, which was just a funny coincidence. But I like the way they used her powers in this. She killed one of the Russian people from the beginning. Um, uh, they explain it that basically this turtle, she had like a fighting ring in her apartment or something, and there were two informants that told the police about it. One of them was this Russian lady. So the Turtle 2.0 killed her by creating this potential energy bubble. She like paused time just like the turtle in season 2 did, but she also like she basically made this lady age really fast. So she was like 100 and something years old when she died. But like when Wally saved her at the beginning of the episode, she was like, I don't know, 20, 30 years old. So they're using her powers in a cool way in this episode. I am kind of disappointed because Eric Wallace and I think it was, yeah, just him. He was kind of hyping it up. He said multiple times that Barry and Wally would be fighting a one of the Flash's greatest enemies, and that it'd be a new enemy, or familiar enemy with a new face. And obviously, my theory, I made a whole video where a portion of it was me talking about the theory that it could be Daniel West, and I was really partial to that theory. I didn't expect it to come true, but I'm kind of disappointed that they went with the turtle. Definitely not one of Flash's greatest enemies, um, in the comics or in the show at all. But I don't know. If they wouldn't have given us this knowledge that a familiar enemy with a new face, one of Flash's greatest enemies, if they didn't say that before the episode, I wouldn't be disappointed at all. It'd just be a regular villain of the week. But I don't know. I kind of had my expectations up. I think everyone did. Everyone was expecting it to be like Reverse Flash or Zoom or something. But I don't know. I don't have a problem with it, really. But yeah, Barry and Wally, they go to stop Turtle 2.0 at CCPD. She slows down time. She has Joe captive, and then she shoots these like green, um, like bubbles, and it was really cool. It, not the CGI. Obviously, the CGI to create the lightning and the bubble effect and stuff. But I just thought the stunts in this scene were really cool. Them running on the walls. I thought it looked really cool. And then Barry like sliding under the bubble and stuff. She actually caught Wally in one of them, and she was threatening to age him 1,000 years. And then Joe came behind and gave her the serum, to stop her and stuff, and it saved Wally, of course. But yeah, um, the serum was the Velocity X stuff that Cisco made. By the way, if I didn't say that before, I can't remember. But but yeah, just an end to this Turtle 2.0 story. It wasn't great, but yeah. Let's talk about the Nash storyline. This was probably one of the craziest parts of the episode. Um, Nash was asking Cisco to help him uh, with this Wells haunting situation. He dubbed them survivors from other Earths and stuff, and Cisco denied him. But then Cisco decided, you know what, I'm gonna help Nash. He went to Nash's, like, I'm pretty sure it was the Citizen, Central City Citizen office. He went to go see Nash, but it was Thawne, and he had taken over Nash's body. Now, we weren't sure. No one, I don't think anyone was certain about what that Thawne twist was at the end of the episode last week. Um, it was either that he was haunting Nash, he was trying to take over his body, or that he was coming in real life, and Sherlock was just trying to warn him about it. But it turns out he was trying to take over his body. Now, what I don't understand, and what they'll probably explain next week, is that I don't understand why Wells isn't like in his physical form, why he has to take over Nash's body to survive or whatever he's trying to do. And he says he's coming. I don't know how he can take over someone else's body. Is he talking about like him physically? He's coming to kill all of Barry's friends and stuff. I'm not really sure what's going on here. They'll most likely explain it next week. It looks like next week is going to be revolving around Thawne and Nash and the haunting situation versus Barry and all that. I'm not sure, but they'll have to explain what's going on there. But yeah, this was a really cool portion of the storyline this week. Um, Thawne and Cisco fought, and he was trying to vibrate his hand through his chest. He doesn't have his powers because he's in Nash's body. Um, it's his mind in Nash's body, so obviously his DNA doesn't have the speed force and stuff, so he can't use it. He doesn't have speed. Obviously, this is exactly what I was thinking was gonna happen right when I realized that taken over Nash's body. I'm like, he most likely doesn't have his speed because of this, and I was right. But then Cecile came, tased him, and they locked him up in the pipeline, and he threatened Barry and Cisco he would get free, kill them um, all of his friends and family, and Thawne just messing with Barry all the time. Yeah, it's awesome. And Thawne already knows that the Speed Force is dead. He can feel it, and it won't affect him when the real Eobard Thawne comes along. It won't affect him because he has his own Speed Force, and this will come into play later. Let's talk about the Mirror Iris situation. Just at the end, Wally, when he was leaving, he talked to Joe and he told Joe to watch out for Iris. He realized that Iris, there's something going on with her. She's different. And Joe, obviously, we could see that he was thinking about this. He's taking this into account. He's probably going to question Iris, maybe. I'm not sure what's going to happen. But um, basically, Camilla had this photo of Iris and Wally, and she had this filter on. I don't know if it's a real filter. Like in real life, I forgot what the word was, on like what the filter was called. But basically, it just revealed Iris to be this mirror person, and then Iris, the fake Iris, she came up behind Camilla, and she said, "I'm not Iris," and then she shot her with the mirror gun. This is obviously what she wanted the mirror gun for, to exterminate anyone who found out about her and Eva and just this anything going on with that. Now, I am not sure. My initial thought was that this mirror gun sent Camilla to the Mirrorverse, where real Iris is and where Eva is. But now I'm starting to think what happened to Camilla is what happened to Cicada 2.0 last season, and it killed her. Now this changes things big time. Like not for the entire show, but like Camilla could be dead right now. Like, imagine what that would do to Cisco, and like Camilla herself. Like, they just threw away this character in this episode. Now, I'm not, I'm not opposed to this at all. The show, I'd argue, has too many characters right now, and Camilla is definitely one of the weaker characters on the show. And last episodes kind of scared me a teeny bit that her and Chester would be taking over as Team Flash from now on. But now it looks like she might be dead, which is crazy. But but yeah. Oh, what a crazy ending to that episode. Do we have anything else really to talk about? Oh yeah. Duh, after Thawne told Barry that he still will have a speed because of the negative speed force, it's his own speed force, Barry gets the bright idea to um he asks Cisco and Caitlin if it's possible to make an artificial speed force. Barry wants to make his own speed force. Now, I don't know exactly what this could be. I don't know if it's something from the comic books. Maybe Barry will somehow tap into the negative speed force, or he will eventually create his own artificial speed force. I'm not sure. Obviously, he's gonna get his speed back. It's called the Flash, and there is a season 7, and there are set photos from like episode 18 and stuff where he has his speed back. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he's gonna create though. It's clear that he's probably going to be creating an artificial speed force, most likely next episode to stop Thawne. I'm not sure, but I don't know if we have anything to talk about. Just in general, I think that they portrayed each character pretty well in this episode. I really liked Wally in this episode. He was very different from the last Wally we saw, but he still felt like the same character. He was like, just like the description said, he was very zen. He had a very spiritual connection with the Speed Force. He told him these stories um, about this Buddha, uh, like basically his trainer in Tibet. He had a lot of stories about them, about him, about this guy. He was just very wise, and he knew a lot more about the Speed Force itself than Barry knows. And I like that. I like that Wally is no longer in Barry's shadow. Um, I just really I really like how they portrayed Wally in this episode, and yeah, and it's cool because I just finished the part of season 2 where Wally debuted on the show. Obviously, he debuted in episode 9, and in episode 10, if you think back, that's the episode where he and Joe had some conflict, and Joe actually mentioned that in this episode. So it's really funny that there are all these callbacks to episode 10 of season 2 with the turtle and with Wally and Joe conflict. And I just watched that episode, so that's kind of funny. But yeah, I really liked Wally in this episode. I liked Barry and his guilt, kind of. I liked how they actually went with it. The Speed Force died. Like, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting them to have a play on what actually happens in the episode, referring to the episode title, obviously. But they actually killed the Speed Force, which is crazy. I don't know if they're going to bring it back, but I think they're going to make a new Speed Force. So, yeah, this is a huge episode for the Speed Force mythos, like Eric Wallace said. But, yeah, tell me in the comments what you thought. I'll probably give this episode like a 9.5 out of 10. Really strong episode. I'd probably say it's in all, like, including Crisis, it's the fourth best episode. Um, my top 4 episodes would be, in first place, we have Last Temptation of Barry Allen Part 1. This is 607. And then Crisis Part 3, 609. And then God Friended Me, 613. And then Death is a Speed Force 614. This episode gets fourth place so far in this season. Maybe on rewatch. I feel like this is another episode that I'll get to appreciate more and more as I rewatch it. Similar to episode 10 of this season. I feel like it could get up to third place. It could pass up God Friended Me, but I did really like that episode, so I don't know. But yeah, I'll have to watch this episode another time. Probably tomorrow after I watch the Legends episode and do my review on that, and then I'll also upload the 14th episodes ranked, and then I'll rewatch the episode, see what I think. But yeah, I feel like this episode is going to age very well. Crazy episode. I loved it. But yeah, tell me in the comments what you thought of the episode. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for next week's review. Next week's episode looks crazy. We got a huge Thawne episode, which I'm always pumped for. Yeah, I'm just really excited for next week's episode. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for my Legends review, my 14th episodes of this, and Arrow ranked. Yeah, see ya.